Oh. Hello, nerds. We are getting ready for DiNK Denver, so this is what's in my camera bag.
Generally nerdy.
Yeah, did you notice the shirt? I got one too. Thanks again to the guys over at punishshirt.com for these awesome shirts. These are actually better than anything that we have in either of the nerdy stores. So awesome for them. Thank you guys so very, very much. I really appreciate all that you guys have done for this channel. Now let's do some what's in my bag. Something to keep in mind with this what's in my bag is I am a one-man podcast. Very rarely will I get a little bit of help from my girlfriend or one of the guys over at Obscene, but like 99.8% of the time, everything I do is just me. So that means I carry a lot of gear when I'm covering cons, and this con, hopefully, I won't have to get into the backup bag, but I'm going to show you what's in both my main bag and my backup bag in this video. So let's get into the gear real quick, shall we? I don't have a bunch of fantastic cameras. I only have one pretty good camera. So this is pretty much all going to be done on the one pretty good camera. So this is my primary bag. It's good and small. Makes getting around the con pretty easy. So right here on top, we've got power. This is a power adapter for the T7i. You can't really see it very well in that shot, but it's a power adapter, so I can plug my T7 into the wall. And then this is a power adapter for my Tascam recorder. It runs on USB. I have some just-in-case USB cables that are 15 feet long that just came in today. I'm super excited about. But for the most part, whenever I'm doing the weekend nerddom, this is the power that I'm using. So I have the Tascam plugged into the wall, and I have the Canon plugged into the wall, so that way I don't have to worry about killing batteries. But I'm not always going to have a wall charger to plug into, so I do have some rechargeable batteries that we'll get into in the second bag for when we're out on the floor on the convention and stuff. This, thank you Peter McKinnon, this is the random bits of things, like the random usables. There's a card reader, I've got an audio cable, there's an audio adapter, another audio cable, USB, so I can do RCA to USB in. These are wonderful. We get these for free. We went over this in the How to Comic-Con at Salt Lake. We get these for free from the dentist. This is what the dentist gives us all of our dentist goodies in. So like our new toothbrush and little sampler toothpastes and maybe some floss and stuff all goes in here. And when I get my cards in tomorrow, I'll have a spot right here that I can put my business cards in, because that's where the dentist puts his when he sends you out of the office. So, little blower guy. I have lens adapters for a telephoto and other filters and things. I have my secondary body. This is the T1 that I used to do everything with. This does do 1080p, but it's only at 20 frames per second for some reason. So very interesting, but APS-C just like the T7i, so I haven't really updated sensors necessarily. I just got a newer version of the same sensor, but the T7 is a world apart, let me tell you. But yeah, so this is my backup body. More power. That's for both the T7 and the T1. And then I've got the 18 to 55. This is the kit lens, and then I added the wide angle onto it. So this is a fisheye. I use this as a fisheye. I have a photography shoot, or a photography shoot. I have a product shoot coming up here in the next couple of weeks, hopefully, that I'm going to need a fisheye for. So this is my solution to doing a fisheye, at least until I can afford a proper fisheye. And then we also have the 70 to 300. This is a full frame lens. So the full frame equivalent is 100 to 450, I believe. So something in that. Usually I use this lens when when I get into a large panel room late. So like I never posted any of the video for it, but I posted some pictures. It was with my Nikon camera since this was doing the video, but similar lens. I posted some pictures from last year's Salt Lake Comic-Con that had what was it? The Twisted Tunes panel. I was all the way in the back for the Twisted Tunes panel, but I had a lens like this on the Nikon body and was shooting there, and I also shot video on this from all the way in the back. But now I have an extension for it even, so I can get even closer shots. And the T7 will, when I turn on the anti-shake, the image stabilization in the body, it crops out the sensor as well, so it makes the image look bigger even more. So I'm hoping I can get really, it's not going to be the most clear picture that I get, but it'll still be workable. So I'm hoping that this year at Denver and at Salt Lake Comic-Con, because DiNK, I'm not going to have the issue of being too far away, because for the most part everything is really small. So I will very likely still use this lens, because it's just easier to set up in the back of a large panel room, and so this lens I'll be able to get plenty good shots up for whoever's on the panel. But yeah, this is probably the only full, no, I lie, I have another full frame lens, and it is my Nifty 50. It's not a proper Nifty 50, because a proper Nifty 50 is about $100 more than I can afford at the moment. So I got the Yongnuo Nifty 50, which still has an aperture of f1.8 and still is a good lens. It's not the best. Obviously, the Canon Nifty 50 is better. There's plenty of videos on YouTube. You can go compare the sharpness of the two, but this, for my purposes, is totally doable. And that's kind of it. I have some more filters here. One of those nifty little retractable brushes, so like if I get dust on a lens, I can brush it off. And that's it for the main camera, for the main bag rather. Yeah, let's hit up the secondary bag real quick. And this right here is the secondary bag. This, for a really long time when I was just shooting with that T1, was my only bag. This made Comic-Con a marathon. So 3 days with this bad boy packed to my back, like this is insane. This is like 50 pounds. And I mean, granted, it's a little more full right now because pretty much it's just gonna sit in the car because it's all backup gear primarily. But still, even when I was wearing it on my back, I had a lot of extra stuff in here just in case I ran out. So what's in the second camera bag? This bag, where's the zipper? Ooh. This is that little rip-off action cam GoPro that I got for 50 bucks. It's not horrible, especially since I found this little mount. It's been chewed a little bit, the dog got to it, but it still works. This, I don't have to have it inside the waterproof. I don't need this waterproof case because I have this little mount here. It's kind of, I don't know if you can see that very well, but I have a 1/4-20 thread on top and on bottom, so I can basically do whatever I want with that. Still kind of looking for the best way to utilize a GoPro if I'm not vlogging with it, because primarily what I've done with it in the past is vlog with it, but now I'm going to use the T7 to do that. This right here is a little $5 kind of a gorilla pod because it bends. Yeah, see that? So it's, I mean, I did a little bit of filming for the Renaissance Nerd with that, so I put the GoPro, the action camera on the oven. I attached it to the handle on the oven, and it works pretty well. We'll see that. I mean, this, I'm gonna be just experimenting the whole time at DiNK, so this is going to be a lot of fun to experiment with. Next, though, this is going to be probably my, I mean, it is a little finicky, but I'm probably going to use this primarily for the panel discussions, because this, it's the Kodak that used to be my main secondary. Now the T1's the secondary, but the Kodak doesn't stop at 30 minutes. And the average length for a panel at a convention is about an hour. So, I mean, yeah, I could theoretically just wait and push the button right as soon as it clicks over, but what if I'm across the room shooting when it clicks over? Like, that's a pain in the butt. Then I'm gonna lose time. So I very likely will also do that, but this will be the backup just in case that fails me. So, pretty nifty little thing. This little tripod that it's on is also kind of quasi, I mean, it came for free with one of those filter kits, I believe. So it's handy. Like I can get this camera in a lot of different nifty little places, and because it's about the form factor of a cell phone, camera's not quite as good as a cell phone anymore now that cell phone cameras have gotten a lot better, but it's still, I mean, it's still freaking usable. It's not the best picture in the world, but it's absolutely not the worst. It's just a little fuzzy, that's all. Next, what should we do next? Next we'll go to the Nikon body. Now, this camera is falling under the category of adventure in photography. I'm just bringing this body along so that I can challenge myself, because this is the oldest DSLR that I have. This is a D200. Still Nikon, doesn't do video, that's how old it is. It is a 10 megapixel sensor, so pretty old, and it still uses single, where's the button? Single compact flash. There's no dual card slot, just the single card slot. So yeah, a little old, but I mean, this is what I learned all of my camera. This is what I learned on this. So I'm gonna test myself and see if I can get some really cool pictures with this. And along that line, I am also bringing the first camera I ever had. This little Casio XLM or XLM. This is, I believe, a 4 megapixel camera. Not even micro four thirds size sensor. It says right here on the lens, it's a 5.8 millimeter to a 17.4 millimeter equivalent lens. So this, all I really remember about using this camera is it gets really noisy and it's really limited, and that's kind of why I'm bringing it, is to see if I can get, like, I might mostly just use this on like the architecture photography stuff. I don't know, but it's gonna be fun to play around with. So there's that. This is the 70-300 for the Nikon. This is also a full frame lens on an APS-C body, so it's really like an 85 or a 105, I think is the equivalent, and 450, something along those lines. This is a great lens. I love this lens. I wish my Nikon were a better sensor so that I could fully utilize this lens, but still, good glass on a cheap body, it makes for a better picture than bad glass on an expensive body. What else is in here? What else? I've got more filters, more power options. This guy because, like I said, that Kodak is notoriously finicky. I kind of brushed over that, but it is notoriously finicky. This right here is a camcorder. It technically it's in an HD ratio, but it's still only a 480 picture. The guy who sold, I was in a pinch. I needed a camera for Denver Comic-Con last year because yeah, I was supposed to go with somebody and he bitched out on me. So he had a camera that I was supposed to use as a secondary long form camera, and so that was no longer available. I only had about 50 bucks on me, so this is what I ended up getting. It's not horrible, but you can tell when I have to upscale this bad boy. So hopefully I won't have to resort to using this, but if the Kodak has one of its little fits and I can't record a panel, then you can probably guarantee this is going to be what records the panel, because it's better when it comes to those panel videos. My mentality is it's better to get the audio with some sort of video, even if it's not the best video, than to just have the audio. So that's what this guy's for. More power, box of cleaning stuff, more power. We've got another one of those little tools with the, oh, I've got it backwards. Those little tools with the brush on the one side. This pocket is for, this is a charger, battery charger. But that battery charger is for these batteries. So I am trying out rechargeable batteries because the little Tascam takes AA batteries, and I have a couple other things that take batteries as well. So I have 8 AA's. No, I have 10 AA's and 2 AA's that are all rechargeables. So theoretically, I always have something that's powered, but the nature of rechargeable batteries means that that's not entirely true. But they are there for the just in case. And then I've got stickers for Obscene. Those will be getting used, and another, there was 2 of these in the other bag. I didn't really show you that, but they're microfiber cleaning cloths. You know, when you're changing lenses and so on and so forth, you don't want to get your fingers on there, and in case you do, you need microfiber to get it off, and so that's what that is. So yeah, that's primarily that. In here we've got I just got this and this. This is my new power solution. This is a 4-bay USB power charger. Flips down right here. 10 bucks. This thing is great. I love this. And then 15-foot USB cables. In this bag specifically are 2 micro USB and 1 mini USB, because the Tascam is an old model, I guess, and it uses a mini USB connector. So I got those, and I got micro USB is for both the Kodak and the action camera, because those are micro USB. So this is brilliant. 15 feet for, I think they were like 10 bucks. The mini USB was just under 10 bucks, and the micro USB was just about 12 bucks. So it's awesome. All of the stuff that, I mean, aside from maybe the cameras, but everything's gonna be linked down in the description. Seriously, these are amazing. You cannot lose with this, and it's the best deal. I mean, there's cheaper ones out there, but all of the reviews were horrible for them. So I went with these. They're a little bit more on the expensive side because you only get 2 per order, whereas some of the other ones you get like 5 per order, and they're $3 cheaper than these. But this one had very few bad reviews. So this is my power solution for when I am stationary. Hopefully when I do interviews on the floor, there will be available power that I can plug into as well, so that I don't have to worry about those AA Lucy batteries. But just in case, there we go. So that's up here, and The other thing that's really funny is this is a very old building. I haven't been in this specific building before, but the last time I covered DiNK, it was in a different building. It was also a very old building in downtown Denver, but they didn't have any grounded outlets. They were only 2-prong outlets. They didn't have the three prongs. So whenever we needed power, we always ran out. There was never enough places for us to plug in because we didn't have any adapters. So I'm bringing some adapters as well because you can never be too prepared. And then yeah. A flashlight for when I'm digging around in the bag. Knife, in case I got to shank somebody. And that's that pocket. Back here, I have a lens hood because, why not? I am going to be doing a little bit of shooting outside, so it makes sense to have the lens hood, but I'm probably not going to be shooting much with the lens that this goes to, so I don't know. Still be fun. Here we have another one of those little clear guys, set of headphones and an adapter for a cell phone. This adapts so you can put your cell phone on a tripod and shoot with your cell phone on a tripod. It's really cool. I don't have a cell phone that can do that kind of stuff, but my girlfriend does, and she'll be with me. So in case I need to use her cell phone for something, there you go. And then we have just some more power adapters. Lots of power, lots and lots of power. Just trying to be a good Boy Scout and be prepared for any situation. That's why I have so much power. And that, for the most part, I have, because we will be doing interviews, I've got Vader here who carries my audio cables, the T7 on the Sunpack tripod, which is a cheap tripod. I don't have the link for that, but I do have a link for a similar tripod that will also go down in the description. And then the Tascam. This is my little baby. This right here is, I know H1 does their H16 or whatever the thing is that has, you can do 6 inputs, but it's really bulky and cumbersome. This fits in your pocket. So you've got 2 channels here, you've got 2 channels on top, and I know it looks like a taser, right? 2 channels on top. These are condenser mics. They're not horrible. They're actually pretty decent condenser mics. This guy is probably the second most expensive piece of gear I have in my entire bag. It ran me about $300. Obviously the most expensive thing is the T7. I got the other 2 cameras were hand-me-downs, so I didn't really have to pay much of anything for those. But this is, I've recorded so much stuff on this. This is a lifesaver. This little field recorder is amazing. And then this is that free tripod that came with the T7. It's cheap. I'm not gonna lie. This little tripod, I tried putting the T7 on it just to see if it would do it, but this piece right here is plastic. Super plastic, which means it's not very strong, and it's cheap plastic, which means it's really not very strong. So I put the T7 on there for a second, and it started to kind of bow a little bit, so I said screw that, I'm never putting the T7 on there. Even the T1, which is a good half a pound lighter, probably close to that, this feels like it strains to carry a little bit. So primarily this tripod is going to be for this recorder. Unless I absolutely need to put the T1 on it, and then obviously I'll find a better solution for the recorder. But when I do the Week in Nerddom, this is my audio. This sits underneath the T7 because that power adapter that plugs into the wall makes noise. Keep that in mind. You always want to test out your power solutions before you go just right into recording, because I recorded a Week in Nerddom before I had tested that power adapter, And that would be why we did Car Studio a few weeks back, because yeah, that wasn't pretty. That audio was not usable. And yeah, so that's what's in my camera bag, guys. Thank you, nerds, for sticking around to the end of this. This is what I am shooting with this weekend at DiNK. So it's going to be an adventure, hence the Adventures in Photography episode we will be filming. So like I said, I am going to be doing some architecture photography. There is apparently, now that we're in year 3 for DiNK, they are pushing for a little bit more cosplay, so we will get some cosplay pictures. It sounds like, though, or at least what I'm going to be gearing towards a little bit more is they do a dog cosplay contest, so I'm gonna be shooting some pets in cosplay. So yeah, architecture, cosplay, street photography, stuff on the floor. I will try and get some artists. Because I feel like one of my favorite pictures of the last 3 years was the first time we covered DiNK. I got the really cool shot, and it's on the Instagram, so you can go check it out at Generally Nerdy on Instagram. And you got to scroll down into the feed a little bit, but it was a picture. I can't even remember the name of the artist. I just remember it's his books on the table, and then he's looking off into the distance. And I was using the Nikon, so I had a really big aperture. It's a 1.8. And I had the aperture open all the way, and so even though he was like 1.5 feet away, he was blurred, just totally bokeh'd out, and it's a great picture, and I want to get something better than that. So that's my personal goal. If you guys want to add to that goal at all, then definitely talk about that down in those comments section, or you can jump over to the website, like I said, generallynerdy.net. That's where you can get in touch with me a little more directly. I mean, there's a link to the email and stuff, and I check that email pretty frequently. And links to the stores, which this is not actually in the stores. This is over on punishshirt.com. And thank you again to the guys at Punishirt for being wonderful sponsors. And yeah, thank you, beautiful nerds, for watching. I look forward to suggestions, and I look forward to shooting this adventure in photography. Oh, but before we completely sign off, before we do all that, guys, you need to always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.